Hello everyone. Welcome back to the show.
Hi.
Thanks so much for listening and for joining us today.
Yeah.
We're doing things a little different today. We are pre-recording the show.
Womp.
Why?
No, I said womp.
Oh, womp. Yeah, that's fine.
Or womp wah.
We're still getting it done. So
yeah.
It'll be semi-live. We're going to rebroadcast this stream of the show after we do this, but we're doing this just because of a little scheduling thing.
Yeah,
we have to do this from time to time.
Yeah, now that things are kind of opening up in the universe a little bit more, it's some gigs are going to come in the way and life events are going to come in the way. So we don't want to stop doing the show on Sundays. We like keeping the same time. It just means that there are some Sundays that we'll have to pre-record. That's all.
No big deal. So before we begin, we would like to thank our sponsor, EV. They sent us these lovely RE20 black microphones. And again, make us sound like real podcasters.
Fake it till you make it.
So if you'd like to know more, you can head to electrovoice.com and find out about all the cool stuff that EV can do for your sonic situation. And we'd also like to thank our patrons whose direct support keeps this podcast going. You can just join and become a patron for as little as $5 a month, and you'll get lots of bonus features, behind the scenes stuff, extra videos, that sort of thing. And so if you'd like to find out more about that, visit patreon.com/crimesagainstfolk. And today we're also changing course a bit in that we don't really have a central topic.
No.
We don't have a visitor, but we do have some questions submitted by our patrons. So we wanted to kind of see what questions people had. I know we try to encourage people who tune in to ask questions, while they're following along and stuff like that. So we decided, hey, let's pull in some questions from the patrons as well.
And there were some interesting ones. I feel like that's just kind of going to lead our show. And we've done one of these before, the no topic.
Yeah.
And it was actually a lot of fun. So we have a little bit more of a guideline today, and we'll kind of see where things take us.
Yep, so let's see. Our first question here is from Linda, and she asks, what is your secret to working so well together? Share one quirk that the other person has that most people would not know. Please do tell.
Okay, you go first, Ed.
Well, I think one of the things that makes it easy for us to work together is I think we're both pretty malleable. Like, if there's something that we're doing together that's not working really, and I think we both can kind of tell when that's starting to happen, we'll just change course. Like, we just kind of look for something that does work, and we're a fairly iterative band in terms of, well, that's not working, let's try this. Well, if that's not working, let's do this.
Yeah.
And I think that because we're both kind of that personality where we can both kind of adapt to the changes pretty well, I think, it makes working together a lot easier because one person's just not like, whoa, you know? And
Yeah, like today is a good example of that. Like, hey, Ed,
Yeah.
I have a gig today. Like, okay, Ash, no big deal. Let's just pre-record the show.
Exactly.
You know, like, that's the secret to why. That's so true. That's the number one thing
like
between you and I.
the number one thing is, we're both very malleable and we both are not afraid to change things up if we need to.
Yeah.
In regard to the band or the podcast or just whatever we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can find somebody to work with who can do that, then I think you are, and if you can do that yourself, you know, you can go far. And it's not just a matter of compromising all the time. Like, that's not really what we're saying.
No.
It's more like you're working together to try and keep things either fun, whatever your mission statement is, keeping things to that mission statement, and you're working together to find that solution, but not compromising who you are or what you stand for or whatever. Those are two totally different things.
Yeah, and you're right. It's not, we don't like compromise. We're just like cool about stuff, you know?
Right.
We're not like, okay, well, I guess I'll meet you in the middle. That's never something we do. It's just like, oh, okay, well, you know, Ed, you know, isn't, you know, mentally up for the show today. Okay, well, we'll just cancel it and we'll come back next week stronger, you know, like that kind of stuff. Not like,
Right.
or like, oh, well, you know, Ashley's head really wasn't in the game today. Oh, well, next week she'll be back. Like, there's no need to like get off and in the podcast and be like, well, Ashley really wasn't very good today in the show. Like, Ed's never, like, we would never do that. Even in our live shows too with Witherword. And we pick up after what, 7 years working together now? I don't know.
Yeah.
We pick up on those cues too. That's another part of it, and that again comes with time and getting to know each other really well and just having a mutual respect for each other.
Mm-hmm.
But we kind of just naturally do this. Has never really I mean, we've talked about it before, but we're never like, hey, can you, like, we'll just kind of pick up on the cues, like you know, we all have off days.
Yep.
And if we show up to a gig, and it's very rare that I'm the one that's like not like feeling like having anxiety or whatever. But when I do, Ed knows it and he'll totally pick up my slack. And I appreciate it so much. Like, I never have to ask him. He just will, which is always incredible.
So true. And I don't even realize that I'm doing it. Honestly, it is it's almost subconscious, but you're right. Like that. Yeah, I tend to be the more withdrawn person when interacting with people at a gig or just in general at a gig. But yeah, if something is bothering Ash, whatever it is, and she's usually the person who is like, you know, more outgoing, I guess that's the best way I can say it. It's not
extroverted, really. I think would be a more accurate.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, a little more extroverted. And so then if that's not happening, then usually I will do it somehow. It really is a subconscious thing.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's one of the ways.
But I think that's it. Like, that kind of speaks to just, there's this kind of, you know, like you said, undercurrent of mutual respect, but also I think we're just on the same page. We're on the same wavelength. And so if one person is not feeling up to something, the other person isn't getting all over their case. They're just, all right, well, either they're stepping in to do something or they're like, well, we just won't do that thing, like you said. So that makes a big difference. I think if you can find somebody, especially in your musical endeavors, but just in general, if you can find somebody who is like that, you're going to have a much easier time working with them or being with them, if you want to extrapolate this to like a relationship or something, or a business partnership.
We are in a relationship.
Yeah.
It's not, not a romantic relationship.
Right. It's a friendship. It's a platonic thing, but it's
Yeah.
but that you still have to deal with that kind of stuff. So you have to deal with, well, somebody's having an off day or somebody's, and you need to step up and do something, So I think if you can approach your partnerships, your relationships that way and, do your best, obviously, not every day, you're not going to, bat 1,000 every day, but approach it that way. And then you're going to have a much easier time like working with somebody. So
it's so much easier just to let things go. And one of the other things that we do, and it's kind of on the same lines as, Ed and I are very, very, very different people, and we allow each other to be our different people.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like specifically on the road, and, we'll get to a new location and all I want to do is like see everything and do everything and meet everybody unless I'm having an off day. But Ed just wants to like chill out, you know? And so we have a great kind of mutual respect of like, especially when we get like, I don't know why this is popping in my head, but I'm specifically thinking of Oklahoma when we stayed at that really cool Airbnb and did that really cool house concert. Remember what town was that in?
I don't remember what town it was in, but
I don't remember either. But anyway, we got there and we kind of negotiated like a 2-night stay, and we checked in, and Ed kind of just checked into his room and chilled out. And I immediately put on my hiking stuff and found the local hike and like went about my thing, went about my day doing whatever. The host invited me to go check out the like downtown area, the very small downtown area. But we went to like the art exhibit, like the small local art exhibit. And like, I got to know her really well. And then later, it was like, hey, do you want to get a pizza for dinner and go over some music? And he's like, sure.
This was in Watonga.
That's it.
That's right.
Watonga.
At
but
the
it
Barretts. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It was just a great example of how I'm never like, oh, Ed won't do it with me, Right. And he's never like, oh, Ashley just drags me everywhere. It's like,
yeah, it's not like that at all. Yeah.
Yeah. And it could be,
right.
But we don't, there's absolutely no point in doing that.
No,
it's so much better this way.
No, there isn't. And yeah, like it's giving each person, allowing each other to have our own kind of space, kind of mentally and personally, I guess, is another key factor. Like that's really, really important. So,
yeah.
Like I know that, especially if you're in like a musical duo, it's exciting because you're both making music together and it's, you want to have this grand adventure, and that's fantastic. But if it's at the expense of compromising like who you are, like your personality, if it's too far out of your comfort zone, or if it's always outside of your comfort zone, then you're going to get uncomfortable. That's the definition of a comfort zone.
Yeah.
So, step outside of that every once in a while. But don't do it just because you're in a duo and you're a band. You have to do it. Like, don't feel pressured to always try to conform to what the other person's doing if they are of a different personality type than you. So. Yeah,
and that works in any relationship. I mean, that Brad and I actually practice that a lot. We we do fight, but very, very rarely.
Right.
And partly it's because it's just like, you know what, you do you, and I do me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he doesn't want to be told what to do, and I certainly don't want to be told what to do, so we typically just don't do it.
Yeah. Don't tell each other what to do.
No.
That's a really easy way to work together well.
Yeah, not be like, this weekend I'm coming to Arizona for some shows, and he usually comes with me, and he was like, you know what, I don't want to go. I want to stay home. I'm like, okay.
There you go.
Cool. See you in 5 days.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
It's that
That's all
easy.
It has to be. Yeah.
So I think those are the main keys. Like give each other, for us, we're giving each other our space, and we can adapt pretty well.
Yeah.
So if you can do those two things, I think the rest of it's not so bad.
Yeah.
One quirk that the other person has that most people would not know. This is something I've noticed.
Oh no.
This isn't like embarrassing, I don't think. But I notice when we're driving and like you've gotten like a bag of chips or a juice or something. I don't know if this is weird or a quirk, but it's maybe just because I don't do it. But I notice every time that you're eating something or drinking something, you have to stare intently at the label on the back.
Really?
Yeah. Like I notice you do it every time. And I'm like, wow, she's really into that. Like,
that's so weird.
I think you're just really concerned about what you're eating or drinking.
Oh, like know? I look at like the ingredients?
Yeah, like the back usually.
Okay.
Like it's usually the back label, but sometimes it's the front.
That's so funny. That's so subconscious. And I wonder if it's because you remember all those years in Nashville when I went like gluten-free and dairy-free.
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder if it's like I stopped doing that because I have an autoimmune disease, and I went to a nutritionist who told me to stop eating gluten and dairy and so I tried it for some years because they're like, no, just keep at it, and it never worked for me. So I started eating it again, and it did nothing. So it was an interesting and annoying experiment, but I wonder if it's like subconsciously built in, or if I'm just kind of conscious about what I'm putting in my body.
It
I
might
don't
be
know.
both.
Yeah.
It might be both. Like there's kind of an ingrained habit that just didn't go away.
Well, and it's funny that you say that because I was just doing that with Garfunkel's dog food this week. I was like, oh my God, it's terrible. The ingredients in generic dog food is awful.
Yeah, it is.
It's so bad. It's like chicken and like chicken liver and then like corn and then all this stuff you can't. I'm like, where? Because I don't know. I was just kind of under the assumption that all dog food had some kind of vegetables in it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because the argument is, well, dogs in the wild don't eat vegetables though. And it's like, right, but the rabbits that they eat do. And also we've domesticated our animals so they're no longer wild and they need some like potatoes or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, some people were talking, I'm like, surely there's something in here. No, there's not a single vegetable, nothing in just generic dog food.
Meat and starch and other stuff.
Awful. I'm like, no wonder he doesn't want to eat it, because that's what kind of struck this. I'm like, he doesn't want to eat his food.
Oh, so you're looking at what's in it. Yeah.
So I bought him a new food, and it like a natural kind of thing, and it's got like, it still has the chicken in it, and then it also has like sweet potatoes, chickpeas, blueberries, which are great for dogs, and I think a little spinach. So
nice.
Yeah. Anyway, side rant. I was just doing that to Garfunkel.
So what about me?
What's your quirk that most people don't know?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, where to start, right?
Well, no, actually, I have one. I don't know if this is a quirk, but it's just kind of interesting. Like, Ed will try anything once. Like almost true, everything. I guess. Like one time. And like I'm specifically referring to food. Like there are this pertains to adventures sometimes as well. Like you'll like if we get to a new area and I'll be like, I heard this hike is really cool. You'll be like, yeah, I'll do it. And the next time we come back, you'll be like, no, I did it. Like I don't want to do it again.
Right.
And then like if I remember like we went and got sushi like once.
Oh, in Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like, or you'll if there's something interesting, there's like an interesting food, like you always want to like try it. And have the experience of it, and then usually you just go back to eating burgers and pizza and chicken salads.
Well, because you usually get the interesting stuff.
Yeah.
If we're like on the road and we go to like a restaurant or something.
Yeah.
And you usually get the interesting stuff. And you always offer like, hey, you want to try it? Like, That's another cool, not a quirk, but a cool, I guess, feature of Ashley.
Well, because I want to try it.
She will,
people stuff.
Yeah, she will always offer like, "Hey, do you want to try this?" I think that's really neat.
Yeah.
And so, oftentimes I will just try it.
Yeah.
And that's as far as
and then
goes.
you'll like it, but then you don't want to have it again.
Yep. I mean, sushi I've had a couple more times.
Okay.
Since then, but yeah, it's more like I do just want to try it. And occasionally there's something that I like that I will maybe get more often, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah, like oh yeah, that's true. Like tamales is a good example of that.
I never had a tamale until we went to that place in Indianapolis. I'd never had one before.
Yeah, and you always want to go back to that place.
Yeah, I'm like, I want more of these. These are amazing.
Yeah.
So that is true. I will try. I will attempt to try something at least once.
I like how if you guys were looking for something a little juicier, then no, we're just talking about food.
Yeah, no, yeah. It is food, isn't it? Because a lot of our travels have centered around food because we've been so many different places.
They do. We that is also one that's one of the things we like to do together when we're on the road that we both really enjoy. And like we have a little system set up. Like when we pass through a new area, whether it's a stop or like if we're have a long drive and we need to find some place for lunch in the middle, we'll always try and find something interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
Like what's the food around here? What's the like restaurant around here that, is we can't get anywhere else? Or that's, interesting or different or something like that. And so we'll Ed will always be driving. So I'll look it up on Yelp or Google or whatever, and I'll find us a place and we'll kind of go through options together. And we'll always do that on the road.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Like the fish and chips journey in England. We were like, we need best. We want the best fish and chip place in England. I know that's a lot of our British fans are going to be like, it's this one.
Yeah, that'll spark a lot of arguments, I think.
Of where we were.
Yeah, we were in Bournemouth, I think, when we did that, right? Was that when we found Chez Fred?
Well, yeah. Well, we decided to wait till we got somewhere coastal.
Right.
Because we're like, there's going to be better there.
Yeah.
Surely.
And it was.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, Bournemouth, that's the most coastal place. And yeah, we found Chez Fred, and it was definitely the best fish and chips we've had in the areas we've been. If you guys have suggestions for us, please let us know, because we will try them when we get back to England.
Alice had a few questions here.
Yep.
First one is our favorite U.S. and European venue to play. So we'll go with U.S. first. What is our favorite U.S. venue?
Goodness.
As of now.
I really liked. I don't know if this is my favorite. I'd honestly have to think harder, and I also don't want to offend anyone because we have so many favorites. But I loved playing. This is the one that popped in my head. I absolutely loved the Simon and Garfunkel show we did at that really cool venue in Massachusetts.
In Shirley, Mass. Yeah, I'd have to look up the name of it again. But
I know.
Yeah, that was a good show. I think the venue, I don't know. It was like a nice big like dinner room, which we hadn't really done yet, I guess.
Yeah, it was almost like a dinner theater. You come in, you eat dinner, and then you watch the show. But we sold a lot of tickets, and it was just the people were so cool. The venue itself was gorgeous. The stage was awesome. The people were really great to work with, and it was like fun because they all had these thick accents, which were really fun.
It was the Bull Run restaurant.
That's right. The Bull Run is awesome.
Yeah. That was a really nice place.
Yeah, and apparently it's like a real milestone to be able to play there. Like if you're from the East Coast, and like a few people were like, "You got to play the Bull Run? Oh my god!"
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we don't know but we could tell how nice it was when we got there. And there was like a really nice green room, and they fed us, and it was just really cool. And I'd love to. That's like on my list of top places I'd love to get back to when we're able to like tour and travel again. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, mine is. I mean, I think honestly, the the theater in Sedona.
Oh yeah, that's
I really like that
great.
venue. I think just again, like the people make the venue. I
They
think
really do.
like if you are running a venue and your people, your staff are friendly, your sound personnel are friendly, it makes a difference to an artist that you probably don't realize, but you're probably just doing it because that's what you do. But you may not realize how often the musicians are just not treated very warmly, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And I was just remember how excited the guy, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the guy's name who books us there, but he's always so excited
Patrick?
to see us. I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But he was always excited to see us.
Yeah.
Like that's that's worth almost as much as what they pay you.
And the promotion that he put into it too, into the show. Yeah, that's a real. I can't wait to get back and play that one. In fact, we sold out the last show there, so we were talking about. I think we sold out 2 shows in a row. In fact, so we were talking about doing a double feature last July.
Yeah, we were going to do it for the 4th of July.
Yeah, that would
until everything crashed around.
Yeah, until everything went to.
But it's the Mary D. Fisher Theater.
Yeah.
That's the theater, and they show like movies there and stuff too. But they also have little concerts there as well. So
also known as Sedona International Film Festival.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of the home of it.
So, House Eifgen also comes to mind because
for European certainly.
Yeah. T.J. Cologne, of course, because Sylvia. But
yeah. So, which one would be your favorite for European? Like,
again, I can't really like pick between. It's so hard to pick like one. I just now my brain's firing. I'm like, oh, but there's this and there's this and there's this. I mean, I've got my top favorites, but I don't think I have like one favorite.
Yeah, I think House Eifgen was mine. I think just because we had 2 really good shows there.
Yeah,
and they asked us back, which is always a plus.
Yeah.
And again, like the really super nice people who run the place and really nice, great sound. Very cool audience. They have really good like audiences there. So I think, for me, that has been my favorite, I think. I don't really count the house concerts because those are kind of one-offs.
Yeah, that's true, huh?
They're really nice, but they're not a place you can book reliably. So
yeah, that's true. It's not really. I mean, it's a venue, but yeah, it's a house concert venue. It's like they are kind of different. Aren't they?
It's a little different. Yeah,
because most of the house concerts you can play like once and you'll never get to play again.
Yeah, exactly.
that's just how it goes. And then there's Grateful Fred's, which at the Atkinson is also another great one. And that's not we've done their house concert, but the venue at the Atkinson was really wonderful.
Yeah,
place. So,
Witherward song you're most proud of / pleased with.
Probably could have thought about this ahead of time.
I think I don't know, for me it might be The Anchor. Just because like the way we wrote it was really kind of unique.
Yeah.
The circumstances under which we wrote it were unique. And the recording of it is really great. The video is really great. I think like across the board, that song just turned out really great.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think that's probably the one I'm the most proud of, like as far as the total package.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I really don't know. I mean, I remember, I think the vocal performance I'm most proud of, I think, is Love You in the Dark.
Oh, yeah. You did great on that one.
Yeah, I remember like recording the vocal. I'm specifically talking about vocals.
Yeah.
And just feeling really, really, really good about it when I was done, which I usually do not.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard, in my opinion, to capture sound of like vocals in particular.
Yeah, it is. It's difficult, well, especially if you're a vocal performer, like primarily, if that's kind of your main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it can be difficult, I think, to perform up to your standard, which I think is always higher than
than
you think it is.
And then you record it and you're like, oh, well, it's not really. I don't know. It kind of, it's almost like when you take a picture of something like uphill and you're trying to capture the angle of the mountain and how steep it is, and your camera just flattens it out and it never looks as steep as it actually is.
Yeah.
That's how I feel recording vocals is.
Yeah.
Is.
Well, you touched on it because a lot of it is the hardware. Like you're listening to it in a completely different way than you are when you're just singing it. Like, especially if you listen back to it, you're not hearing your head resonance.
Yeah.
You're not feeling, you're not actually doing it. So the breath sounds weird. It's weird when you listen to your voice outside of your own head.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it flattens it. All this, the hardware, like you said, it flattens it. It's like the camera's going to flatten the angle of the mountain, and there's lots of stuff we do to try and make it different. But for me, when I hear somebody's voice on a recording, I never know if it's any good until I hear them live.
Right.
And then you hear them live and you're like, holy crap, that person's voice is incredible. Like there's no way, unless you like got a really good like live recording somehow, sometimes that can kind of sneak through. But for the most part, it just kind of flattens it. But anyway, I think the production, my favorite, I think, production of a song is possibly Sleeping with Shadows. And also I love the writing on that too. And again, like per your point, how that song came together. And we just did if you're a Patreon of Crimes Against Folk, we did a behind the scenes of that song. You should definitely take a listen to it if you haven't. And if you're not a Patreon, quick plug, go to patreon.com/Crimes Against Folk, because for just $5 you can unlock all those features and find out that. But I think it was like, that song is funny because the production, we really put a lot into it on that one. I feel like we picked a lot of tiny little nuances. Laura Hall was talking about a producer named John Bryan, who's incredible musician, and he's produced a lot of amazing albums, and how he'll put 4 bars of an oboe in the middle of the song. You'll never hear it again. Like he's just really, he'll do really cool stuff like that. And that really, and I feel like we did that with that song a little bit, and just kind of very small parts that you wouldn't necessarily notice, but I notice. And we really put a lot of TLC into, okay, we'll put the 2 violins here, but just the 1 here, and then bring it back, and then working with the percussion, and then having everything stop except for the shaker, and then come back in. We did a lot of work with the production of that, and I was I think
if we do want to also restrict it just to production, I think I'm really happy with how Parallel Universe turned out.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
I'm also just happy with that one too, because I played a really good guitar line on there. And I don't often play guitar lines that I really like.
Yeah.
But when I hear that back, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a really good guitar line.
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to say it's a really good guitar line.
Yeah.
And it was like exactly what I wanted to do That's why. It's like I heard it in my head and then I recorded it and it came out exactly how it was supposed to, which doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
So, but overall for me, I think it's the Anchor.
Yeah.
So, favorite Witherword video. My answer's pretty easy for this one. My favorite's the Anchor.
Yes.
And I say that mainly because when the cinematography in the Anchor, I think, is the best that Howard's done. Howard probably won't say that, but because obviously he's got a different eye than I do. But I think just the shots that he lined up were just really beautiful. I think that was when he got like a new camera, and I think that was what he used on that that Sony mirrorless camera or something.
Yeah.
And everything just looked amazing. And so,
Well, there's a lot of scenes in that too.
yeah,
There's the garage scene,
garage. Yep.
which was really interesting because we had the projector running behind us.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the garage scene, the dock.
Yep.
We went to the sand dunes.
You went back there, yeah,
And
to get the Morro Rock in the background.
yeah, that might be it.
That Howard did, yeah.
Yeah, and then
the boat.
and then Ed and Stephanie and I ran around. Oh, and the boat.
Yeah, don't forget the boat.
Right. Oh, yeah. How could you forget the boat? And then Ed and Stephanie and I kind of ran around Morro Bay with our iPhones, just getting some fun. So there's kind of two elements to that video. There's the beautiful cinematography that Howard did, and then there's the silly running around with the phone stuff, that
home video stuff.
Yeah, the homemade stuff, that with the idea of it was we're watching it on the projector screen was kind of the idea. So
But the cool thing about that projector screen thing was when he did some shots with you and Steph and Patrick where he would just film you, but the projector's on you or behind you.
yeah,
And so you get the cool lens flare of the projector, and the light onto you is so cool. The coolest thing.
which makes me want to change my answer for the video I gave.
Yeah, what is your favorite video?
Well, originally I said Vagabond Road.
That's a good answer.
It is a good answer, and in again, it's just beautiful. The mountains are bright green, and I'm wearing this really cool vintage white dress, and it's all in slow motion. And
had the perfect light, got the perfect light on that take.
Oh my God, everything lined up so perfectly. It was amazing, and we got in a one freaking take. And the other, but I don't know. I always forget about, and I don't know why maybe we didn't promote this one as much, but The Night I Fell for You.
Oh yeah.
I think that one I'm particularly a little bit more proud of because I had to do a lot of work.
Yeah, you did.
And
did we do that around the same time as the Anchor?
Yes, I think. Yeah.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. We must have the Anchor and Teeth and
The Night I Fell for You. Yeah, I can't remember.
And Deaf, Dumb, and Blind. Yeah, because I know I was wearing the hair extensions at that point. I think I had them in all four of those videos.
Yeah.
But I had those long blonde hair extensions that were kind of fun for a while. But yeah, I had to ride a bicycle around Morro Bay, and it was really, 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 really cold.
Yeah.
And Howard had put the camera on the front of the bicycle, and I had to act like I wasn't cold and ride through downtown Morro Bay at 6 a.m. and then down some pretty windy areas. And the idea was we wanted to get me lip syncing it, and then also get the beautiful scenery behind us, which we totally did. But yeah, it was a lot of work, and it was very, very cold.
It turned out so great, though.
I know. I love that video.
It turned out so great. And I think just the perspectives of like, just like because you're like right here, you know, you're like right in front of everybody's face. And so it's like you can't look away, you know?
Yeah, like I don't change. The scenery around me changes.
Yeah.
And we tried to get as much contrast as we could. We even went to like a little like mountain biking trail, which I'm not a great biker, so the whole experience was fairly interesting.
Yeah.
And then you, Stephanie, and I got that other stuff, and yeah, there's a lot of early mornings for me in Howard.
Yeah, it was. I honestly, I felt really bad, even though I really don't like doing music videos at all. But I was like, man, she's just, it's too much. It's too much. It's so cold, and it's always like I really felt bad for you.
But I'll do anything for a good shot, you know.
Yeah, true.
Like even photography, videos, it's fun for me, you know. Even though it's so cold, and like, yeah, I'll do anything for it. I don't know why.
No, you do really enjoy it. I think
I love it,
and I think you're very good at it.
Oh, thanks.
You know, like kind of modeling / video things, like being in a video.
Yeah, that's another
I really
quirk
don't like
you may not know. Like he gets so quiet before every music video shoot, like dead silent.
Yeah.
We're like, I always feel bad. I'm like, I'm sorry, Ed.
I mean, honestly, the reason that was that was the reason I knew when we were shooting a music video. That was how I knew the anti-anxiety medicine I was taking was working.
Oh.
Because when we did the shoot for Sleeping with Shadows, I had only started taking it about 3 or 4 weeks before then.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't feel like it had kicked in yet. I didn't feel that much different.
Yeah.
But then we were going to we did 2 videos that time, during that time. And I remember, like, of course, you know, naturally being really, you know, getting super anxious and like, you know, just really like, oh gosh, I don't want to do this. And I'm getting really excited, really anxious and scared. And then, but I was able to like talk myself down, which I'd never been able to do before.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, this stuff must be working.
Well, and that was freezing. That was really cold.
That one, oh yeah. Like, well, what was the other one we did then? Was it because we did 2 videos that weekend? Oh, it was Vagabond Road and that one.
Oh, right, yeah.
And Sleeping with Shadows. And Sleeping with Shadows is the one because I was in it more, so I was a little more anxious about it.
Right.
But yeah, it was very cold on that one too. But that's how I knew. So yeah, I really don't like doing these videos.
I know. Well, which is why, like, just for the for the Witherword fans out there, that's why I star in most of our music videos. You don't see too many videos where Ed's singing lead because we try to cut him as much slack as possible for that.
I really don't like it.
Yeah.
But
so otherwise, that's why we never really did one for like Parallel Universe or anything.
I'm
Otherwise,
so
we would
happy to help out.
Yeah.
I've no problem helping out, but being in it, no.
You did great driving the Subaru in Vagabond Road. Best, and that's probably your favorite music video, really, though, because all you have to do is drive the car.
I get to drive a car, for 2 minutes or 2 minutes, I think it was,
Yeah, done.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
So you're definitely on the you're definitely saying Night FL for you. That's yours.
I think so. Yeah,
it's a really good one.
Even though I think Vagabond Road is probably more beautiful, just like the work that went into Night FL for you, and also it's also beautiful.
Like that shot of you with the moon.
Yeah,
is like really great.
Yeah, that is very
on the bench,
cool.
or something like that.
Oh yeah. Because we did. Yeah, we had some other. Yeah, there was a shot of me on the bench, and then there was also a shot of me by the rock with the moon there, and that was all real. Like we didn't insert a moon. Yeah, it was gorgeous.
That was really nice. So well, thanks for sending in your questions. We might do this again. Who knows? I kind of like, because we typically have, if you don't know, one part of our Patreon thing is that we do have kind of a post show. This time I don't think we'll be able to do it, but we typically have a post show where people who subscribe at that level on Patreon can actually hang out with us for an extra like 20 minutes and ask whatever questions they want and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice to like bring this in. But if you want to do this more, you can go to Patreon, and it's at a higher tier level, a higher dollar level, but it is in there if you want to jump up to that.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of fun to actually do this kind of for everybody. So we may, who knows, we may expand it and try doing it live at one point, because we get a lot of questions. We encourage people to
do like a live one where you guys can call in and kind of ask. Kind of keep a Zoom link open, see who pops in. Why not?
Because we do encourage people to throw in their questions, even if we may not get to them on the air because we're in the middle of an interview or something like that. But we do encourage people to be curious, and ask questions, and which is why we share a lot of the stories that we do. So
yeah.
But we're not going to skimp on show and tell.
Nope.
We do have a show and tell all ready for you. This is a photo that I submitted that was in my camera roll. And one of my favorite experiences of our 2019 European tour.
Yeah.
And this is a photo of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
I believe from the East Berlin side. And the Berlin Wall, or at least what remains of it, they've kind of turned to this sort of art project museum kind of thing, but it's like outdoors. So on the side of the wall that you see, there's a lot of really cool like graffiti art and stuff like that. And on the other side, there are kind of more like it's like sectioned off so that there are more formal kind of artworks on there, all still kind of like painted on. But I just thought it was such a cool thing. It was one of the things I'd always kind of wanted to see was the Berlin Wall.
And this was like, I think we probably wouldn't have known about this if it weren't for Eric, because
I think so.
This was a very, very cool way to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to kind of the area first where it was just like the original wall and ruins, and that was cool too. But this was just like the addition of the artistic element to it was really unique and special to me.
And it's just kind of crazy too to see, I don't know if this is intentional how they did it, but it's like, again, I think this is from the East Berlin side, what would have been East Berlin. Mm-hmm. And just the contrast of like, it's just kind of barren on this side as opposed to the West Berlin side.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which was, which in this photo, of course, it's just built up all the heck. But on the East Berlin side, not much was happening thanks to communism. So it is, I don't know if that was intentional that they left it like this, but it certainly makes a statement as to the time. And I mean, I remember I remember seeing that on the news.
Yeah.
When the Berlin Wall fell.
Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Was it 89?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was 89. It was like late 80s at least. But
you were very young to remember that.
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember seeing the news reports about it.
Yeah, I think it's like vaguely familiar to me, but I don't know. I don't remember much about it.
But it was really something to just see it.
Yeah.
Like, because it hurt. You hear so much about it, and then when you go see it, you can really kind of imagine what it must have been like during the time when there was an East Berlin and a West Berlin.
Yeah.
Or an East Germany and a Western Germany.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird to think about now because that was so long ago. Like a lot of people now who are just, you know, maybe graduating high school have no idea that Germany was split into two pieces for the better part of 40, 50 years. And to think about, and now even we have a hard time thinking about it because it's been a unified Germany for so long that I think it was really powerful for me to just see it. Like that you had to just build a gigantic wall to keep people separated from each other. And that's just ridiculous to me. That's just ridiculous to have to do that.
Yeah.
So
there's some really sad stories around all that too.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
There are. And it again, I think this is a lesson we have failed to learn. But maybe we'll get there in the end. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think big walls just not a good thing.
Name a time when a big wall was worked out.
Yeah.
For everybody.
It certainly didn't help it certainly didn't hinder the Mongols when they were busy conquering China. So
yeah.
I think just don't do it anymore. You know, just don't do it unless you want to have a cool art exhibition in 25 years. But you know, just don't do it. But it is, if you're ever in Berlin, you should not miss it. You must go and see the Berlin Wall art exhibit, which is the Berlin Wall. Just with a lot of really, like, man, everything there was so good.
Yeah.
Every piece of art that people put on the walls on both sides of the walls were so good.
Yeah. Some of those murals were like, wow. Yeah, they really stop you in your tracks, and just to be able to walk up and down is so cool. But we went with, it was my sister and Tara and her husband flew into Berlin with their two little girls because they just wanted to experience Berlin.
We were there for a show. Yeah,
and they were like, "Well, we'll come in and hang out with you guys."
Yeah.
And they and we all went to the wall together, and then we all got separated because you kind of just get lost looking around. I think
there's a lot of people there.
Yeah. And I think at one point I like messaged Ed. I'm like, "Where are you?" And he's like, "I'm on this bridge over here." And I was like, "Wow, that's really far." It was like a half a mile from where we were. I was like, "All right, we'll see you later."
Yeah, it was
gonna be back up.
It was very far away because you like walk down and you just keep walking and looking at everything, and all of a sudden you're at this bridge over the Rhine, I guess, and
yeah.
And it is easy to get lost, especially again if you go on both sides. There's so much of it to see.
Yeah.
So I think it is well worth a visit if you are ever in Berlin.
Yeah.
Just to see it, kind of a piece of history that's still there. Mm-hmm. You know, which doesn't happen every day.
No.
So yeah, go see the Berlin Wall. Also, go see the two other things, just tangentially. Go to the German History Museum. We did that.
Oh yeah. Especially go look at the exhibit. Like it goes way back. I mean, it's huge. So we would have had to spend 8 hours to see everything in there. So, but the part where that talked about World War II in particular was really eye opening. Mm-hmm. And I think for my whole life, I've always been like, but why? Like, how did this happen? It doesn't make any sense. And it really actually explained why. Like now I get it. I'm like, oh, I see how this happened.
They laid it all out. Like this is exactly how this happened.
and it made sense. So yeah, it's definitely go there.
And if you can go into it, we went to the outside, but the Holocaust Memorial if you can stomach it,
yeah.
is well worth the visit. Even just the outside.
Uh-huh.
But we didn't go inside.
No, we didn't. And I'm not mad that we didn't. It is
exactly.
It is very
if you can
depressing.
stomach it,
right?
If you can handle it.
But the memorial with the bit, it was incredible.
Yeah, the stones outside.
Oh my God, it's like really, really cool. The art, it's like an art exhibit basically, and you kind of get lost, and sometimes you're just enveloped by these walls.
Yeah,
and then other times there's just like they get smaller and smaller, and then bigger and bigger. So yeah, it's really cool.
Interesting. So yeah, that was my show and tell. A little peek at the modern Berlin Wall.
Yeah, that was cool. Cool share. Amazing how easily we forget all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's probably why they've left it up. It's just like we don't forget what happened.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's all we got for today.
Yay.
Once again, thanks to our sponsor EV, Electro Voice. You can find out more about what they've got going on at electrovoice.com. And thanks to our wonderful patrons who directly support this podcast, you can learn more at patreon.com/crimesagainstfolk.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Do we want to do a song?
Yeah, let's do a song.
Yeah.
We could do, let's do one of the songs we talked about.
Do you feel like doing Vagabond Road?
Yeah, sure. Let me just grab my guitar.
Okay.
It steady, make it fast, make this deed so it's gonna last. Take me places I've never been, only in my imagination. All the highway angels wave, they pass me by on parade. I saw them in Montana skies, in Vegas where they go to die. I've bled on strings and over you, found sanction in a Subaru. All I know is the vagabond road. When she calls me, I'm coming home. Can't stay away from the open road. I've conquered mountains, now I want the ocean. I want confidence in motion. All the highway angels wave, they pass me by on parade. I saw them in Montana skies, Vegas where they go to die. I've bled on strings and over you, found sanction in a Subaru. I don't have much, but this is true. All I know is the vagabond road. Nice.
Nicely done.
Yeah, I love that song with the two dueling hollow bodies.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Right. It sounds correct.
Yeah. It does.
Thanks everybody for hanging out with us today.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time on Crimes Against Folk.
Woo!